First off, I want to say thank you to Lenovo for sending me out a Legion Go S for me to play around with. Now this is a white Windows version, so I won't hold that against them. I actually did ask Lenovo for an image for the Linux build, but they didn't have one available. I did replace Windows on my OG Legion Go with a distro of Linux called Bazzite OS. And they do have an image for the Legion Go S, but I was not able to boot from the SD card. So after I learned that, I kind of just gave up trying to install Linux on the loaner and just accepted it for what it is as a Windows handheld, which is fine. But we weren't going to get too deep into the weeds anyways on software, because first I just wanted to answer the question, who is the Legion Go S for versus the OG Legion Go? When I first saw the S reveal, I did think that it was going to be a direct sequel or replacement for the OG Legion Go. But that's not exactly the case. It does not make the OG Legion Go seem obsolete or inferior. Instead, it just does its own thing, but does it really well. So I think there's room for both of these in the handheld world. But this thing is sleek, it's light, it's comfortable, it's polished. Just from holding it compared to the original Legion Go, it's like going from a base model car to a top trim. It's just more refined, you feel it as soon as you hold it. Both USB-C ports are now on the top instead of the one on the top and one on the bottom like the OG. I do prefer this layout. The bottom USB-C on the OG Legion Go was always inconvenient, I felt like, especially when you had to prop it up on the kickstand and try to charge it and connect the peripherals at the same time. It just didn't really work out. I also don't like docks that charge from the bottom like the Nintendo Switch, so if I ever docked the OG Legion Go, I would always use one that connected from the top port anyways. I just never want to put that added stress on a bottom USB-C. The D-pad is definitely an upgrade over the original in my opinion. The Legion Go S uses a circular D-pad instead of the 4-button layout like the OG. That's just my preference, especially for retro games and fighting games. I grew up a Sega kid, so it just feels more natural. But some people may prefer the D-pad on the OG Go. I think it's just personal preference. Visually, the S is just gorgeous, man. It's a beautiful piece of hardware, the geometry, the materials, the assembly. It all just feels really well thought out. Modifying it looks simpler too. So as you can see, the original Legion Go controller was not exactly intended to be modified. It's pretty much sealed. It's got a lot of buttons on it. It looks very complicated to reassemble. But the OG does have 6 screws along the sides, 3 on each side, where you can open up the main compartment and get to the main board in there. So, it made it as convenient as possible with the design that they were going for. As you see, it's one unit. Everything is kind of one shell. There's no detachable controllers is what I'm trying to say. You see there's no screws on the top. There's no screws on the side, but we see that seam that goes all around. There's no screws on the back. There are 3 Phillips head screws keeping this entire case together. I have not opened it up, so I don't know how easy it is to detach the front and the back. They told me I couldn't open it up either. Trust me, I asked. And if you're a modder like me, the gears in your head start turning immediately and start thinking of things you can tweak or upgrade. If I actually owned the Go S, that would be the first thing I would do, would be looking for different shells I could put on it. I would maybe do like a clear purple, kind of give it that retro look. Now let's talk about the specs between the OG and the Go S. Now, as you probably noticed already, the OG has a bigger screen. It's got an 8.8 inch screen, while the S has an 8-inch screen. Now the screen is probably the biggest selling point of the OG Go. It's got 144 Hz refresh rate. It's 2560 by 1600. Not saying the S screen isn't great, because it is. You're just not going to be able to crank it up as high as you can with the OG. It is a 1920 by 1200 screen with 120 Hz refresh rate. That, to me, is perfect. I would actually prefer this, because when you're dealing with a handheld, I don't want to max out my screen all the time if I'm going to be on battery power. And that's what I think mainly separates these two handhelds. I think this was really designed to be a handheld first system, and this was designed to go on a desk. This has the bigger chip in it running the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme, which has 8 cores and 16 threads. And then the Go S that I have here is running the Z2 Go, which has 6 cores and 12 threads. Again, trading off power for better battery life. The OG has 16 gigs of DDR5, same RAM, same speed. But that option of 32 gigs does give the Go S a little bit of an advantage there as far as RAM is concerned. They both have a 512 gig SSD with an M.2 slot as well, and that M.2 slot I believe is the same exact speed on both. The battery in the Go S is rated at 55.5 watt hours, while the OG Go has 49.2 watt hours. As I mentioned before, the Go S is much lighter. Just from picking them both up, you can tell the difference. The S weighs about 640 grams, while the OG weighs about 854 grams. And another note is that the Go S does not come with a kickstand like the OG does out of the box. Like I said, this one, you can just tell it was meant to go on a desk. But to me, the Lenovo Legion Go S puts the Go in Legion Go. It is meant to be a portable handheld. There's no frills, there's no controller gimmicks or anything like that. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel or do anything crazy with the Go S. They just took a really solid platform and just made it very user-friendly. It's just a very gamer-focused piece of hardware. You can tell just by holding it, but compared to the original OG Go, like, everything's there. It's very functional. It almost feels more like a prototype, and this feels kind of like the final product on the vision that they had originally. Oh yeah, one more thing, the mouse pads. This one's being so small, it seems like it's worse, but they kind of crank the sensitivity up a little bit, and when you move it around, you kind of get that same range of motion that you do with the big one. But if you're not set on which one you like more or which one is more for you, I did make a couple of videos on the OG Go. I'll put those here.